Spin2Win Rogue is here in the PTR, and this specific Rogue build is about to dominate Season 6 with the new expansion. And in my eyes, this thing will go head to head with Spiritborn. With this one singular Dance of Knives build, you can dominate right from the get-go at level 1, all the way to the endgame Torment 4 at the highest levels of the pit. Yes, this is one of those rare builds that you do not need to change one single bit in terms of the skills and Paragon, whether you're leveling or you're trying to tackle the hardest endgame content in Diablo. In this Spin2Win build, we literally have everything you could ever want in a singular build. Insane AoE damage, which makes the leveling or speed farming process an absolute joke. Amazing single target DPS so you don't have to worry about bosses. Incredible mobility so you can zoom across the battlefield with minimal time wasted. And we even have healing built into the build so you literally never die. Build link will be in the comments or description below. So let's go over how the build works. The main skill we use is Dance of Knives, the new rogue ability. When holding down this skill, we channel it, and it launches knives towards surrounding enemies. It will automatically target these knives towards multiple enemies or one single enemy if you're facing a boss. The amazing thing about this ability is that it is not resource based, it uses charges instead, 1 per second of using the ability, but we get a nice generous 6 charges. With enhanced Dance of Knives, every 30 meters we travel we gain back 4 charges. So if you can move around fast enough, 30 meters in 4 seconds, you can make this ability last forever. Yes, you can literally press one button and go through an entire dungeon with ease. Now, the limiting factor for enhanced Dance of Knives is having enough movement speed to travel 30 meters in 4 seconds or less. When you're leveling, your gear won't have enough movement speed to make this a possibility, but we can work around this. From very early on, we can get the key passive Momentum. Momentum, while we channel Dance of Knives, will give us a stacking bonus to damage reduction, and movement speed. The 30% from this passive at 10 stacks and the 20% movement speed from the skill itself will pretty much solve this issue very early on, so you can spin to win forever. We use the cold imbuement skill to chill and freeze our enemies because within this build we can stack tons of damage bonuses against frozen enemies. In particular, Frigid Finesse gives us a 30% multiplicative increase to our damage against frozen enemies. Our ultimate Shadow Clone lasts for 15 seconds and mimics our actions, meaning it also throws knives when we cast Dance of Knives, boosting our damage significantly. With rune words, which I'll touch on later, we can really bring the cooldown of this ability so you can have near 100% uptime on it. Our last main ability is Smoke Grenade, which thanks to enhanced Smoke Grenade boosts damage against enemies hit by your smoke by a multiplicative 25%. You can make this even stronger through the Frostbitten aspect, which gives a chance for your grenades to freeze enemies, and then you can gain all the bonuses against frozen targets we discussed before. Now for leveling, that is the crux of the build, that's all you need. But when you're pushing the end game, including the pit, you'll really want to scale your damage through certain aspects and gear. In terms of specialization, you want to use Inner Sight, which gives us 25% increased critical strike chance when our Inner Sight bar is filled up. Because Dance of Knives auto targets enemies, you'll be activating this a ton even when you're not against a boss. With the new aspect of True Sight, we can boost our critical strike damage by 200% against marked enemies, and when we have Inner Sight activated, we gain a multiplicative 60% damage bonus. Our other important aspects include Aspect of Star Shards, which is again a new aspect. This basically makes our knives from Dance of Knives have a chance to split into 6 further shards, which then causes even more AoE damage. We have Aspect of Stolen Vigor, which boosts our damage by a whopping 75% if you put it on your amulet when using Momentum and gives us Unstoppable every 8 seconds automatically. This has an amazing interaction with Tybalt's Will so that every time you become unstoppable, you'll gain more damage and more damage reduction. Don't worry, any uniques I mention are not a necessity for leveling, it's just when you're trying to gear for endgame. Another bonus unique to look out for is the unique ring Pitfighter's Gull. What this does is it causes you to become stealthed every second whilst inside a smoke bomb cloud. Then when you come out of stealth, your next attack will have a massive damage boost thanks to the affix on the ring. This literally happens every second whilst you spin around in your smoke cloud, so look out for this ring as well when leveling. So let's go over our skill tree. So you want to put 1 point into Puncture and 1 into Enhanced Puncture. At the very start of the leveling process, you will use a few puncture throws here and there when you run out of Dance of Knives, but we do very quickly take this basic attack off our skill bar once we get the key passive and Momentum. Then put 3 points into Sturdy and 3 points into Siphoning Strikes, which will basically solve most of our healing issues. Then put 1 point into Dance of Knives and 1 into Enhanced Dance of Knives as soon as you unlock them. Put 1 point into Discipline Dance of Knives as well. You'll want to max out Dance of Knives to 5 out of 5, but remember to unlock your other skills first. Put 1 point into Shadow Step, which is our button to break crowd control, 1 into Enhanced Shadow Step and 1 into Discipline Shadow Step. Put 1 point into Dash, 1 into Enhanced Dash and 1 into Methodical Dash. You'll want to get all of these passives here, but again remember to prioritize unlocking your other skills and key passives first. Put 3 points into Rugged, 3 points into Weapon Mastery, 3 into Trick Attacks, and 3 points into Ballistra. You then want to put 1 point into Smoke Grenade, 1 into Enhanced Smoke Grenade, and 1 into Countering Smoke Grenade. Put 5 points into Dark Shroud, which when we have 5 shadows up, will gain a massive 56% damage reduction. Put 1 point into Enhanced Dark Shroud for more movement speed and 1 into Countering Dark Shroud for more critical strike chance. You don't put Dark Shroud into your abilities bar, instead we activate it through our aspects, which I'll discuss later. Put 3 points into Exploit and 3 points into Malice. Put 1 point into Cold Imbuement, 1 into Enhanced Cold Imbuement, and then 1 into Mixed Cold Imbuement. Put 3 points into Frigid Finesse. Then you want to put 5 points into Shadow Clone, 1 into Prime Shadow Clone, and 1 into Supreme Shadow Clone. Put 3 points into Impetus. The key passive for this build is Momentum, which gives us damage reduction, more damage, movement speed, which are all integral to the build. Now in the PTR for the absolute end game, when you're pushing tier 90, tier 100 pit, Victimize with Poison does become better. But when you're leveling, Momentum is superior for the reasons we've discussed before. Momentum with good gear will take you to tier 80, tier 85 of the pit, but then that's when Victimize becomes better. If you're like me and you hate respeccing, then Momentum is the way forward. It will do all of your leveling, all of your farming, and literally like 95% of the end game as well. Let's go over our gear and aspects. So for your helmet, in the end game, you want a Shaco with a greater affix on cooldown reduction. Aim for your Masterworks to all hit cooldown reduction as well. For your chest piece, when you're pushing Torment 3 and 4, Tyrell's Might is a godsend. It will negate the resistance nerfs you get single-handedly. Aim for your greater affix to be on maximum resistance to all elements and or damage reduction. Masterwork for maximum resistance to all elements or damage reduction again. For your gloves, you want the Fists of Fate, which boost our lucky hit, attack speed and critical strike chance. If you don't have these, then aim for legendary gloves with attack speed, critical strike chance, and dexterity. When we get Tyrell's Might, we actually use legendary pants instead of Tybalt's Will. Why? Because we need the Umbrous legendary aspect, which allows us to get Dark Shroud without wasting a slot on the skill bar. Dark Shroud gives us so much damage reduction, it's pretty much a must for the build. Before you get Tyrell's Might though, you want to use Tybalt's Will instead, and then you want to put this same Umbrous aspect on a legendary chest piece. On your pants, aim for dexterity, armor, and maximum life. Temper for percentage armor or maximum life depending on whether you're at the armor cap of 1000 at Torment 4 or not. Our boots have the frostbitten aspect on them, so our smoke grenades can freeze enemies as well. Aim for dexterity, movement speed, and then instead of the maximum life I've got rolled here, you can actually get ranks of Dark Shroud, which is going to be superior. Our two-handed weapon is where we place the aspect of True Sight, so our bonuses are doubled. Aim for dexterity, maximum life, and then critical strike damage or vulnerable damage. Temper for chance for Dance of Knives to cast twice, and damage per Dark Shroud shadow. Aim for your Masterworks to hit chance for Dance of Knives to cast twice. You want cumulatively this to be as close to 100% total as possible. Our one-handed weapons are similar in terms of the stats you want, Tempers and Masterwork. Here I put the aspect of Elements and the Edgemaster's aspect because we always have 100% resource. Ideally, you want your one-handed weapons to be daggers because they have the fastest attack speed. If you have the Ashira's Kanjar unique, then replace your main dagger with this because it's going to give us lots of attack speed and ranks to weapon mastery, which is amazing for Dance of Knives. My amulet here isn't the best. You want percentage to dexterity, ranks to frigid finesse, and ranks to weapon mastery ideally. Attack speed isn't a bad backup option. Here you want to temper for Dark Shroud damage and cold imbuement bonus costs. Aim for your Masterworks to hit percentage dexterity. For your ring, you want to place the aspect of Star Shards here. Aim for dexterity, attack speed, and critical strike chance. Temper for Dark Shroud damage and cold imbuement casts, Masterwork for attack speed. Our second ring is the unique ring Pit Fighter's Gull. If you don't have this, then get another legendary ring with the same stats and tempering to aim for as the first legendary ring I talked about. If you do have a second legendary ring, you want to place the cold clip aspect on it here, which boosts damage against chilled or frozen enemies by 20%. In terms of rune words, I combine the back rune with the Om rune so that when we travel 50 meters, we use the Barbarian's Enhanced Warcry, which gives us more multiplicative damage and berserking, which berserking gives us even more damage and movement speed on top. My second set of rune words, I combine the Yol rune with the Zek rune, so that whenever we cast a skill with a cooldown, it reduced our Shadow Clone cooldown by 4 seconds. So with a half decent Shaco, you can literally have 100% uptime on your Shadow Clone. In terms of Paragon, it'll be covered more extensively in my build planner, but to summarize, our first board has the Control Glyph, which boosts damage against crowd control enemies, and remember we chill and freeze enemies constantly in this build, so it will count. Our second board is the Dance Macabre node, which boosts our Dance of Knives damage by 50% after we use a mobility skill. We then place the Fluidity Glyph here for more damage when we cast an agility skill. Remember, Dance of Knives itself is an agility skill. Then we get the Cheap Shot board and place the Headhunter Glyph here. Go back and get the No Witness board to boost our damage for all skills when we have our ultimate up. Here we place the Versatility Glyph. Finally, we get the Exploit Weakness node and place the Closer Glyph to boost Cutthroat damage with Dance of Knives is, and it gives us a further 10% damage reduction. So there you have it, my Dance of Knives build that will carry you from level 1 to the endgame in Season 6. I'm super excited to use this to level my rogue. It's going to be so strong. If you liked what I talked about today, remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Diablo builds as we get into Season 6 with Vessel of Hatred. I'm Mr. Ronnet, and that's it for today. Peace out, guys.